I know exactly what you're thinking about. You want an extraordinary life. You want freedom, money, strength, respect, a family you are proud of, something you've built with your own hands, maybe even a life that outlives you. But there's a question almost nobody asks: what kind of a man does that life require you to become? Because you want the life of an extraordinary man while secretly negotiating for an ordinary man's level of difficulty. Look, everyone wants reward, but very few people actually want the weight attached to it. You want freedom? Nice, but freedom means uncertainty. You want wealth? Great, but wealth actually means there is suddenly something you need to protect. You want leadership? Insane. Now, people are actually depending upon your judgment. You want mastery? Excellent. Now, you're going to repeat the same boring thing thousands of times while everyone else is distracted and are doing 100 different things every single day. You want greatness? Beautiful, that's the pinnacle. Then understand the invoice. Greatness asks more of you than comfort ever will. When you were 15, your problems were small. Where you fit in, what people actually thought of you, whether you were good enough or not. At 20, that question actually fundamentally changed. What are you doing with your life? Can you go on to build something? Can you make money? Can you become somebody? Then 25 comes and your decisions start having consequences. A career, a reputation, relationships, bills, your health, and your future. Then perhaps you build a family, and suddenly there are people whose lives are affected by whether you go on to keep your word or not. The freedom he wanted didn't remove the pressure, it removed the person he used to hand the pressure to. That's what freedom actually is, ladies and gentlemen. Not the absence of responsibility, ownership of responsibility. And that principle goes very much further than any business is ever going to teach you. The man who blames everyone else isn't free. The man who needs someone else to motivate him isn't free. The man who cannot control his impulses isn't free. The man who cannot keep a promise to himself isn't free. Because if something outside of you controls the way you behave, how are you even free? Real freedom requires self command. A difficult conversation teaches you courage. A failed business teaches you judgment. A demanding job teaches you competence. Keeping a promise when you don't feel like it teaches discipline. Admitting you were wrong teaches humility. Taking responsibility for a mistake teaches ownership. Sitting alone and doing the work when nobody's actually watching or clapping teaches you character. This is exactly how capacity is built. Not through affirmations, not through wishing, not through imagining yourself as powerful, but through repeated contact with things that demand more from you than you're currently capable of giving. You don't think your way into capacity, you practice your way into it. The most formidable question in the room is often the most quietest one because he can command himself. He can work when he doesn't feel like working. He can remain calm while everyone else panics. He can tell the truth when lying would be easier. He can delay pressure. He can actually admit when he's wrong. He can change his mind when reality proves him wrong. He can continue after failure without turning failure into an identity. And he doesn't need applause to do what needs to be done. That is exactly power. There's a massive difference between wanting to be powerful and becoming capable of power. Eventually, every man encounters a moment. It usually isn't cinematic, no music, no mountain, no great speech, just an ordinary Tuesday. Something breaks, a decision has to be made, a problem appears, everyone looks around, and then you realize they are actually looking at you. Your parents can't fix this one. Your boss isn't coming. Your friends can't make the decision for you. Maybe your partner is depending upon you too. Maybe your employees are waiting. Maybe your children are watching, and for the very first time, you understand something nobody can teach you beforehand. Nobody is coming to save you. Now, not all suffering is actually valuable. Pain does not automatically make you stronger. Some suffering simply destroys people. Some difficulty should be escaped. Some environments should be left. Some problems should be solved instead of being romanticized. So, this isn't an argument for suffering for its own sake, it is actually an argument for something more precise. Meaningful difficulty should be confronted. Because if you spend your entire life avoiding anything uncomfortable, you don't create a life without suffering, you create a life without capacity, and eventually, ladies and gentlemen, the bill is going to arrive. The shelter will go on to become the cage. Because greatness is not money, it's not followers, it's not status, it's not having people who know your name. Greatness is something much more demanding. It is the ability to voluntarily carry something larger than yourself: a family, a company, a craft, a mission, a community, an idea, a body of work, a whole responsibility. Something that would continue to matter even if nobody applauded you for carrying it. That is the exact difference between a life organized around comfort and a life organized around meaning. Comfort asks, what can I avoid? Meaning asks, what is actually worth carrying? So maybe the question was never, when will life stop being hard? Maybe that was the wrong question from the start to actually ask yourself. The better question, or a fundamentally better question to be asking yourself, is, what am I willing to become capable of carrying? Because the life you want has a weight, the family you want has a weight, the freedom you want has a weight, the success you want has a weight, the mission you want has a weight. And if you want something enormous, you cannot keep demanding that it actually feels light. You have to become enormous enough to actually go ahead and carry it. The weight will come, the responsibility will come, the uncertainty will follow. The moments when you want to quit will eventually come reach you. And when they do, the question won't be whether life was fair. It won't be whether you were feeling ready. It won't even be whether you felt afraid. The question will be a very simple one. Can you go ahead and carry it? One day, you'll look back at the thing that once felt impossible and you'll realize something strange. The mountain didn't shrink, the responsibility didn't disappear, the world didn't suddenly become kinder. You became the man who could go on to carry it, and maybe that was the point of all things doing along. The weight was never there to actually crush you, it was there to reveal what you could eventually become.